get a job. So we're going to have to find out if they are serious about jobs and employment for our people in the city by getting those men who were part of the 300 men march and see if they're going to march to City Hall for jobs and justice. Or you waiting for Al Sharpton and them come to town. They're not going to come to town and tell you. They're not going to challenge your mayor. He couldn't even get an entertainment district when he came last time and charge y'all suckers 5 G's to come to town. We'll say, let's charge you 5 G's and told you was going to get an entertainment district, and they shutting down black businesses, black bars, black liquor stores, even, what's that one up there, Museum Lounge, which was in the heart of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, metrosexual community. It used to be the Brass Elephant. The liquor license thug, what's that chairman? Fogelman came in there. They shut it down. I don't think they back open yet, man. And so this is the city that's going around shutting down black establishments, black professional establishments for black young people and professionals that have a place to go and network. And of course, they tell me the Italians aren't too happy about the closing of, Della Note's down there on Eastern Avenue? That's at the juncture of going from Harbor West to Harbor East. And so them Italians, you'd be surprised. You got more white people mad with Michael Beatty and John Paterakis than you do black folk in the city right now. You got more whites to saying that they getting just total access and some access, perhaps as well, to your mayor and others down there in City Hall, while other small businesses and restaurants are folding up and closing up right now, and they're not even getting a helping hand from the mayor in the city of Baltimore. So you can imagine how they feel about, again, those that are coming into the city and take, and never want to give anything. So, again, we'll get back into that. And also, get back into the brothers tomorrow, talking about the upcoming event tomorrow, or Saturday, rather, on the campus of Coppin State University, the next best thing, the next generation, again, the boxing event that's going to be coming up. And I'm going to hopefully have those brothers join me as we talk about the upcoming event that's coming up. But again, to get your tickets, make sure that you give my brother Wayne a call at Charm City Chicken and Waffle Restaurant at 443-708-5452. Again, that number is 443-708-5452 to be a part of that event that's going down. But now, you listening to the State of the City. I was hoping to have some guests today, Dr. Tyrone Powers. He's on a mission out of town. And, of course, my brother, Sergeant Lou Hobson. So don't have a guest, so we'll be able to go solo. But, again, I remind you, before we open up the lines, about the boycott. So make sure you make your word bond. Share it with your neighbors. Share it with your friends regarding the boycott. Here's an opportunity for you to have something constructive and productive to say, and share it with your family, share it with your friends, because you got young people that's out demonstrating, of course, in these record-breaking temperatures around this country. So clearly they want to see justice, not just for the Trayvons, but all the Davons, Avons, and Shavons and others that we have lost in the cities around this country right now. And don't let anybody flip the script. Don't let anybody flip the script and try to tell you, well, what about the blacks killing blacks? Well, you'll never hear them. You'll never, ever hear whites who have been involved in some of the most violent acts against man in this country and around the world try to let them flip the script on them and talk about World War I, World War II, and with Russia being attacked the other day by Israel, you are now in World War III. But you'll never hear them say that when a crime like that occurs, well, what about whites killing whites? Let a black man go out right now and kill a white man. I'll be damned if you're going to hear some whites talking about, how about that white-on-white violence that took place at the Oreo game? So let anybody flip the script on you and try to make you think that it's something wrong with you talking about, again, the death of Trayvon Martin and other young people that are being killed by law enforcement and those associated or affiliated with, again, law enforcement as well. So, again, you're tuned to the State of the City. We'll be getting into, again, and revisiting this Trayvon Martin aftermath, because I got a lot of questions that I still want to ask. But I got this piece that I've been wanting to share with you that I'm going to go ahead and give it to you anyway, talking about Trayvon Martin. And could this have been a blood sacrifice, as myself and as I heard the living legend Bobby D. Gregory on with Carl Nelson yesterday, talking about, again, Trayvon Martin's family settling out of court. $1 million out of court insurance policy, which you can read about in the Orlando Sentinel. We posted on the Facebook page, along with, did you know that the President of the United States, did you know that the Attorney General Eric Holder, and did you know that others in the Department of Justice, after Trayvon Martin was killed, sent, and let me make sure I could share this information with you, man, but it's entitled, again, the Justice Department. The Justice Department, peacemakers help Sanford stay cool amid rising tensions, man. This is from April the 15th last year. But it says, when racial tensions flared in Sanford a league of secretive peacemakers reached out to the city's spiritual and civic leaders to help cool heated emotions after 17-year-old Trayvon Martin was shot and killed in February. When civil rights organizers wanted to demonstrate, these federal workers taught them how to peacefully manage crowds. They even arranged a police escort for college students to ensure safe passage for their 40-mile march from Daytona Beach to Sanford to demand justice. And the question is, how many of them might be in your city? Goes on and says, as national figures and sign-waving protesters grabbed the spotlight after Trayvon's death, federal workers from a little-known branch of the Department of Justice labored away behind the scenes, quietly brokering deals between the city officials and residents to help prevent violence and lay the groundwork for peace. Even though last week's arrest of suspected shooter George Zimmerman calmed some tensions, the Community Relations Service will remain in Sanford for an unspecified period of time as long as we're needed, the agency's acting director said. The Community Relations Service offers few details about its works. City officials, local leaders, and residents say these peacekeepers have played a key role in easing tensions during some of the most heated moments after Trayvon's shooting. So I won't get into all of this, but clearly these so-called Justice Department or the Department of Injustice, CIA, that's operating inside of Sanford, Florida. So it says in their navy blue windbreakers, polo shirts, and dark sunglasses, they look like federal agents. Their caps are embroidered with the Justice Department seal. They watch and listen silently, but they say little publicly. When reporters try to chat with them, they remain stoic, saying simply they cannot talk to the media. It says the peacekeepers have a specific mandate outlined in the 1964 Civil Rights Act to go into conflict zones with American communities or within the American communities they perceive discrimination or feel wrong because of their particular race, color, or national origin. We are unique in that we don't investigate or prosecute, but we foster communication between communities, said Acting Community Relations Service Director Becky Monroe. The real goal is to build local capacity to deal with these issues. So did you know that this is what was going on down there in Seminole County, man? But that's not what I want to get into. Let me give you this other clip. As I said before, as I see Sharpton and Jealous and Morial and others trying to use this to guide you and tell you that you can't talk about real boycott and talk about real issues, but they want to guide you into the so-called stand your ground while they just stand around and they put all their attention focus on looking out for Obama and having their conventions sponsored by these same corporations. But at the same time, they wasn't focusing on, they kept their eyes off the prize with what was going on in the Supreme Court regarding the Voters' Right Bill, regarding, again, the issue of affirmative action. But they wanted to spend more time talking about what was happening on the NBA courts and what was happening in other courts, but not what was happening, of course, around the issue of the Supreme Court and what was happening again. As we're talking about this issue of the boycott, what was happening again in Florida, what's happening in the Los Angeles courtroom of the Michael Jackson trial that's still going on, and other serious cases where this country is turning back the clock on our gains politically and economically. But let me go to this piece as we're talking about ain't no sunshine when we gone out of Florida, man, in terms of the boycott, a real economic boycott in terms of you not taking your children down to Disneyland or Disney World to see a giant rat. If you want to go somewhere, go to Georgia, where the King Center for Nonviolence is located. Go to South Kakalaki if you choose to. But do not take your children to Florida if you are willing to say you want justice, man. If not, then you really just playing, and you may as well go back to doing whatever you was doing before the Trayvon. But again, the interesting part, as I said before, with the Trayvon aftermath now, we see a feeding frenzy on Trayvon Martin. His parents have patented his name, which I got some issues with that. If you're serious about justice, why are you taking time to make a patent on his name, man? But again, parent has patented his name, and of course the out-of-court insurance policy that you can read about in the Orlando Sentinel again of April the 5th of 2012 in terms of $1 million. And this is before a suspect was arrested or suspects, because I'm clear that there was more than one killer of Trayvon Martin, and I'll give you the names of some of them police officers. They had almost 20 police officers at the scene as I read that report again last night, but not one of those officers were put on the witness stand. From Sergeant Raimondo to Officer Ayala to Sergeant T. Smith and even the so-called Paramedic Meade, who they claim attempted to, again, perform resuscitation along with Officer Raimondo And if I know the names, you mean the national media, NBC, ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC don't know these officers' names? So again, let me go to this clip, man. We're talking about ain't no sunshine when we gone out of Florida. And that's what our motto is. Ain't no sunshine when we gone. And we'll come back over the next couple of days and share with you how much blacks spend on tourism in Florida, along with blacks from the diaspora, from the Caribbean that come into Florida, blacks from Latin America that come into Florida, and blacks from Brazil right now is probably the biggest target outside of the United States and South America is where Visit Florida, which you can go to that website, visitflorida.com, and look at how much money blacks spend on tourism down in Florida. So again, or you can just call the NAACP, they could tell you. Or you can call the Black Bar Association, they could tell you. Or you could call the National Association of Black Journalists that's going to have in their conference down there. They could tell you as well. But let me go to this clip, man, and then we'll come back in and get into more of the state of the city. So in the meantime and in between time, listen to this message as we're talking about the issue of Trayvon Martin and if it was a actual blood sacrifice. So I want you to listen with an open heart, open ears, and open mind. And always when you see these kind of incidents that occur or events that occur, you ask, of course, simply, who benefits Key Bono from the death of Trayvon Martin and all of the aftermath and fallout now? So listen to this, and we'll come back with more of the state of the city.
Teenager Trayvon Martin, in February 26th, triggered a new wave of racial tension in the United States, and as long as the killer George Zimmerman is still free, favored by Florida's Stand Your Ground law, and the local authorities lack in commitment to deeply investigate the case, increases the social outrage in the country, especially among the black community, that quickly gathers in protesting groups mobilized by well-known civil rights leaders, in rallies all over the streets of Sanford. Though if by one hand the stupid death of Trayvon Martin is mobilizing Americans for social justice, by the other hand it is reigniting the endless racial conflicts in the USA. The internet is clearly reflecting these social tensions, with trolls and all sort of agent provocateurs taking over forums of discussions and blogs of mass popular access, to incite racism, ethnic hate and racial war, and they are unavoidably succeeding because Americans can get along with their social diversity.
It's important that, in America people are allowed to walk down the street without fear of being shot because someone else simply thinks they're suspicious.
But what's happening is that most Americans are failing to look at the whole picture, and realize that a racial civil war is part of the New World Order agenda for the United States. It's pretty obvious that this case is being explored by groups of interest connected to the powers that be, and the whole scenario looks like a blatant PSY operation for creating confusion and conflict. Literally divide to conquer. Though, what at first sight seems to be only a false flag for social manipulation, may actually reveal a very creepy event of unspeakable evil, created by the hand of occultist societies that infest the USA. A very odd commentary made in one of the countless threads of discussion about this case, in a conspiracy forum on the internet, immediately drawn my attention because it made a connection between Trayvon Martin's murder and the Illuminati, and strange as it seems, I saw a video of this very famous talk show on American TV where the host made several comments implying the exact same thing I read in that conspiracy forum. That the Florida kid was killed so that his heart could be donated to the former Vice President of the United States, Dick Cheney, who underwent to a transplant 1 month after Martin died. Before you say I'm insane, pay close attention at all details I'm gonna put together from now on. Starting by the talk show.
From another undeserved vacation. My guest tonight, Shaquille O'Neal, I assume fully recovered from St. Patrick's Day. While we were gone, while we were on vacation this past week, a lot went on. There was the usual Republican primary shenanigans. We'll try but fail to avoid talking about that tomorrow. But for the first day back, there were really 2 stories that caught my attention.
NBC News has just confirmed that former Vice President Dick Cheney had heart transplant surgery earlier today.